So I bought 1 package of phyllo pastry dough, and you're rolling it out. Butter a pan. This is I think 9 inch by 13 inches. This is blended walnuts, a pound of blended walnuts and white sugar, like just regular caster sugar.
1 cup.
1 cup of the sugar. And that's my mom. This is melted butter, a couple bars worth, and you can use silicone brush just to paste or layer on to the first layer of dough. Spread it generously. This comes in sheets of like 10 or something, 20, I don't know. It's just a stack of dough. We use I don't know what kind of stick this is, but you can get it from like Michael's or something. It's just like a 1/2 inch thick or something like that, 1/2 inch. It's only for decoration. You can do it in any way that you want, but you take a couple of layers of the dough. One layer? I thought that's 2. One, 2 layers. And you roll it onto the stick like that. It's very delicate, so it may break a little, but that's okay. Just keep rolling and it'll work out. She's adding the extra butter so that it sticks at the end of the dough, or the dough sticks to the other side of the dough. Roll it out. Push it onto each other to tighten it a little. And then you take the pan. Slide it on. And then you repeat the process. We'll come back for later. So for this syrup recipe, there is a cup of sugar, just regular granulated sugar, and then there is 3/4 cups of honey, and a 1/2 cup of honey and 3/4 cups of water. You just mix it to pretty well mixed, and then you put it over medium heat until the sugar dissolves, mixing it periodically so that you can see. It'll basically become a little more clearer and a little more liquidy. Almost done with the dough here. Starting to look like that. They're long here. And then when you take them out of the oven, they'll still be long, so you cut it after you let the syrup sit in it for a little while or just before you put the syrup on. So as a side note, you don't have to add it to the recipe, but if you especially if people are allergic to it, but the walnut and sugar mix can also have cinnamon in it if you wanted to add that flavor to it. It's not a very strong flavor, but you can definitely taste it once you add it if you wanted to. And it's really just based off of your preference and flavor. I wouldn't put more than a couple tablespoons. Just a thought. Now you're going to turn on the bake to 325. To 325. And then you set it to about a 1/2 hour to 45 minutes. You just check on it periodically. It's supposed to turn like a golden brown and crispy. We'll check on it as well. Before you put it into the oven, you want to get an egg wash. So you take the yolk of the egg. About 1 should be enough, just so you can put an egg wash over the baklava before you put it into the oven. It should help make it crispier and golden. So here's the egg with the egg wash, or just scrambling the yolk of the egg with a silicone brush. And then you just wash it onto the eggs or onto the baklava. So here is what the syrup is supposed to look like. Once it starts to boil, just reduce it from medium to low heat, and then let it boil for another, or just let it sit, you know, cook for another 3 to 4 minutes, and then you turn it off. So the sugar should be dissolved and pretty semi-clear. Here is the baklava with the egg wash on it, and as the oven gets to 325, we'll put it in there afterward, and then we'll see what it looks like. So this is what it looks like. It was only in the oven for 30 minutes. It should be about, you know, kind of crispy, hot, and you can let it soak. Yeah, let it sit for a little bit to cool down a little bit. And we can prepare the syrup. It's still, we didn't do anything to it, it was just sitting on the stove cooling down as well. Once it cools down a little bit, you just basically very generously pour the syrup on top of it, and you let the syrup sit for however long you want it to sit, but let it sit long enough that it'll soak at least into the bottom of the pastry. You can cut it before letting it soak, or you could let it soak and then cut it. It's totally up to you, but we tend to cut it before we put it to soak in the syrup. But that's basically it. That's the whole recipe, and hope you guys enjoyed it, and hopefully you'll be able to make it just as easily.